I'm Marcus Burke. I'm the owner and broker of Condo Metropolis, LLC. Most of you will recognize me since you purchased your real estate through our real estate division. But there are some of you I know that have come from other property management companies that may never have seen my face. So I'm sending this video newsletter to you for that reason. It's a way for me to introduce myself to those of you that have never met me. And also it's a lot quicker than typing. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is somewhat complex, and so I thought this would be a good way to do it. What I wanted to talk about is something called FIRPTA, F-I-R-P-T-A, which stands for the, make sure I get this right, the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. That's the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. And what that piece of legislation does is it dictates what your responsibilities are and what your liabilities are when it comes to selling your real estate investment. And it dictates that the seller is responsible for making sure that 10% of your purchase price is withheld and sent to the IRS. You, as the seller, are then responsible for trying to get any portion of that back which is not owed via capital gains or whatever tax liability you may happen to have. Now, I'm sure that most of you have never dealt with the IRS but have heard of them and can imagine it is a bureaucratic nightmare, and it can take months, if not years, of dealing with the IRS to get what you want from them. They're very quick to take your money and not so quick to give it back, probably just like the government where you happen to live. My suggestion is that there is a way around this, and it's an exemption certificate, and what you would need to do is apply for that exemption certificate which exempts you from the 10% withholding requirement. You apply for that ahead of time, a couple of months before you want to sell your property. And you would apply for it by talking to your international tax consultant or advisor, probably the same person that helped you get your international tax identification number, or ITIN. And we went through that last year with some of you. I think all of you at this point now have your taxpayer number. And that's for your annual reporting of gross income to the IRS every year. FIRPTA deals with your liabilities at the point of sale. Okay, so my suggestion and what this message to you today is please talk with your international tax advisor about FIRPTA, the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act, and let them know that at some point in the future, you don't have to do this right away. If you know you're not going to sell for a couple of years, then come watch this video in a couple of years. But if you're thinking about it any time in the next 6 months to a year, this is something you might want to start working on now. Tell them that you're thinking of selling, you're an international investor. By the way, this doesn't apply to you if you are a US citizen, if you have a social security number that takes the place of your ITIN, or if you have a green card. If you fall into one of those categories, you're not considered foreign, I believe, and this would not apply. But do check all of this with your tax professional. I'm not a tax person. I'm not allowed to give tax advice, but I can tell you that this is a method, a legal method, by the way. There's nothing underhand about this. You just simply need to know about it in order to make the application and to get that withholding certificate exemption ahead of time. What you would then do is give that to me or whichever real estate company you happen to be using to sell your property, and I would pass it to the title company or the attorney that's in the middle of the transaction, and they would complete the necessary paperwork. In the absence of that, the same people, the attorneys or the title company, would complete different paperwork on behalf of the buyer, since, as I said earlier, it's technically the buyer's responsibility to make sure that this happens, but the title company will take care of it. or the attorney will take care of it on their behalf, they would complete the necessary alternate paperwork and withhold 10% of your purchase price and send all of that to the IRS. And it's a headache. It's a headache, as I'm sure you can imagine. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. That's about all I know. As I say, I'm not a tax person. It's no good you asking me more specific questions on any of this than I've been able to tell you. Do contact your tax professional. If you don't have one, and I'm sure you all do, and some of you may use these folk already, but these guys are fairly well known. They're in Kissimmee. They're called Harding and Associates Tax Services. They deal specifically with international investors, and they know their stuff when it comes to all this tricky tax stuff. As I say, they're in Kissimmee. The phone number is 863-968-1010. That's 863 area code 968-1010, or you can just Google Harding and Associates Tax Services. If you have your own tax person, feel free to ask them, or anybody else. We don't get any kickback from these guys. There's nothing in it for me. I just happen to be they're very well known, so I'm aware of them. That's it for now. Hope all is well, and I'll be back with another video or written newsletter soon. Hope you're having a great day wherever you happen to be in the world.